Central to understanding the history of ancient Egypt are the pharaohs and dynasties that reflect a highly organized political entity. Now, our basic understanding of who these pharaohs or kings were comes from a man called Manetho. He was an Egyptian priest and a historian living in the early 3rd century BC. It was Manetho who divided Egypt's history before then into 31 dynasties of kings. On the basis of Manetho's source and other sources, modern historians have divided ancient Egypt into 3 major periods. These are the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. These kingdoms were periods of long-term stability characterized by monarchical authority, or rather the authority of the pharaoh, a strong bureaucracy supporting the pharaoh, a lack of invasions, building activity, and cultural activity. Between these 3 kingdoms are periods of instability, and these are known as the intermediate periods. The intermediate periods are known for weak political leadership, rivalry, invasion, and the restructuring of society. According to Egyptian sources, Egypt initially was made up of an area ruled by tribal chieftains. It was around 3100 BC that Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt were united during the early dynastic period by King Menes. This reinforced the Egyptian religious belief in dualities that we'll see in another video. The Old Kingdom means the 3rd through 6th dynasties. Egypt was very prosperous at this time, as indicated by the pyramids. The pyramids were built during this time, not during the other kingdoms. The capital at this time was in Memphis, which was in the south of the Nile Delta, not the Memphis that we have today on the Mississippi. That Memphis is named after the Egyptian Memphis. Kingship was divine. Obeying the king ensured cosmic order. This meant that any breakdown in royal authority could only mean that citizens were offending the gods. The pharaoh had absolute power and authority, although he was expected to rule according to set principles. By the 4th dynasty, a bureaucracy or civil service had developed to help the pharaoh rule. An important office within this bureaucracy was that of the vizier. This meant the steward of the whole land. This vizier was directly responsible to the king, and he was at the top of the bureaucracy. Within this, agriculture and the treasury were the most important aspects. The economy rested on agriculture, and the treasury collected the taxes which were paid in kind. That means that people didn't pay cash the way we might today, but rather they paid in agricultural items. Careful land assessments had to be undertaken to establish the best tax base. Egypt was administratively divided into provinces which were known as nomes. There were 22 nomes in Upper Egypt and 20 nomes in Lower Egypt. A governor, known as a nomarch, ruled each, and the nomarch reported to the king or the pharaoh and the vizier. Nomarchs could build up their own power base though, and potentially be rivals to the pharaohs. The Middle Kingdom came after the Old Kingdom when environmental problems like drought, low flooding, low rainfall, and economic and political problems led to the collapse of the Old Kingdom that led to the first intermediate period. I'm going to come back to the Middle Kingdom in the next video.